Okay, so do you guys see my screen over here? And I'll make it bigger as well. Oops. You guys see the, I guess, Jupiter 19, I'll call it
Yeah.
graphs. Cool. All right, and I'll show you guys how to do a couple other things that last week when I was doing it, I was going through and focusing on a couple things where I was doing like line by line. We can actually do it all in one line and edit it and so forth. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to import a different library, and if this is too small, just let me know. So I'm importing the NumPy library, and you can call it anything. So the NumPy library is, well, we can use that for our data statistics. So that'll play a role from data statistics, but the one that we are really concerned about is the matplotlib library. And this one here this library allows us to be able to create graphs off the data that we input into it, which is pretty neat to me because you could write a couple lines of code and provide some data, and that data presents something. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, this is not going to be your fanciest report or whatever the case is. But to me, it's pretty impressive. Little things that you could do. Then you start thinking outside the box. Hey, maybe if I could do this, or maybe I could do that and automate it, then it makes it even better. Then I'm also going to import the Pilot. A little bit more. I am on a big screen, so I just want to make sure it's visible. So Pilot is PLT and hit enter. Now, another thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a comment here. So if you do it, and I'm not sure, I may have mentioned this last week, I may have not. My apologies if I didn't. I'm just gonna put a pound here and mention what I'm doing here. So I'm going to configure the X and Y calculations. We'll say metrics, that's probably a better word. So X equals, and what we're going to do here is we're going to create a graph that provides a couple things. It provides, we can base it off of different years. So let's say like, we'll use as an example, maybe, let's do this here, sales for, what's a good company, Amazon in 2019. Well, let's say 2018, 27, we'll say 2018. I'm not sure if I'll have it right away. Okay, I guess it's a lot quicker than I thought. So that's a lot of money. So 232,887,000. It kind of seems like a little low. Sounds like revenue would have been higher than that, like in the billions, but that's fine. Oh, billions. Okay, so I don't know. I thought I see millions. All right, so 232 million. So what's interesting is just looking at this data right here. 2020 was the year of the pandemic. Really, everything went to hell, but sales were a lot more than typical year, which is what I figured. So what I'll do here is, so I'll do 2018. So I'll do X equals 2018. And so what I'm doing here is putting the different years. So I'm putting 2018. So these are like my titles, I guess. And then I'll put 2019, and then I'll do 2020. That, hit enter, and then I'll do Y. So Y, so X-axis is will be the value. So when we pull up the diagram, it'll be like the values at the bottom of the plot that provides the years, so it separates the different years. And then on the side will be the total. So if we start at, I think what we had here was $232 billion. So it'll go from 232 up to 386 and show us how it basically went up. Maybe we should have chose a person that went down, like GameStop, or I think it was GameStop that had that crazy hiatus. So so I'll put 232,887. I'll just put 88. We know that's $232 billion. And then we know that in 2019, was 280.52. And then the last year was, so you see how it went up? It went up to 386.06. 386.6. All right, cool. So that's our y-axis. Now we could come down here and say that we want to display our plot. Well, we can say our metrics, metric visual, whatever. And then what I could do here is I can type in PLT, which represents the pie plot that we're going to use, dot plot. And then we can pass in the X and Y and just click run. And it's nothing fancy. I'll maximize that. It's nothing fancy though, but it does show you here how it moves from, like, it gradually goes in 2019 and then it kind of shoots up the top. Or we could come in here and change this and say, like, you know, let's say hypothetically it didn't do so well and we went down to 186 for some reason. We could change that like that and just run it again. And you can see where it just shoots up and goes out in the sky, but that's, you know, not the case. So you change that and run it again. So it just kind of gradually goes up using the line chart. Or using a plot chart, whatever. You could also change that to bar and run a bar graph. And they just, you know, bar graph is fine though. But see, one of the things is, you know, like when you learn into storytelling, and we'll learn in other chapters when we get into graphs and Tableau, we'll learn about when's the right graph to use in certain circumstances. And like in this example, this to me doesn't, I mean, this is fine. It's fine, but I kind of personally like this personally, because I can see how I could just look at that and know right off the bat that it shows the level of when, you know, what was the breaking year. And sadly, the year that everybody was at home, what can everybody do? You know, we were able to go out to restaurants and we weren't able to go out to restaurants, and take that back. We were able out and go get takeout orders. A lot of places did really well. Some places didn't do bad. But at the end of the day, we were all kind of locked up. And what were we doing? We were watching TV and working and doing school and ordering stuff off of Amazon. So Amazon did really well. So different places did well during the pandemic. Any questions on this that I'm talking about? Has anyone ever created graphs like in Excel before? And has it been pretty easy?
Yeah, I've done graphs in Excel pretty often for work.
Okay.
Different types of ones.
And has it been pretty simple though?
Yeah, they're pretty basic. Nothing too intricate.
Cool. Good. Awesome. And these are just, you know, we're just writing a little bit of code and boom, we're just like that. So there's the two ones, there's the plot, there's the bar. Let's see, what else can we could probably break it down even more. So let's go back to the bar. We'll add some stuff to it. We'll run the bar again. So maybe, and we could go back to the other thing as well. So maybe we'll put display labels. So we could put labels. So we could do plot dot title, and then we could put in parentheses and pass a literal string, and we could say Amazon profit over year. Then we could do so we could put so we have our x equals, but we could give it a label. So we could do plot dot x label, and then we could put years, and then we could do plot dot y label. I think I spelled it wrong. Just notice that label, and we could do profit. Then we can switch it back as well. So if we run it like this, it provides Amazon profit over year, profit over here and the years down here. We could go back and do the plot again if you want. And we get the same thing. So we have years, profit. This at least it provides some type of description, some type of label that coexists with the chart. Any questions on that? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna create a new one. Maybe. All right. So let's create a new notebook. All right, so this one that we're going to do here will be a pie chart. And so we can break it up by whatever. We'll figure something out. We're going to break it up by. And maybe we'll do it by. Let me go off to ESPN real quick. Everyone watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like it? You like
Yeah.
it?
I thought Cincinnati would win.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So now we'll start off with importing. I'll name this again. I'll call it the pie chart. And we'll start off with a import, plot, library, pilot, pie plot, yeah, plot, and we will create labels. And we'll say labels equals, and oops, we'll do a couple teams here. We'll do Penguins, do Islanders. You guys watch hockey, right? Blackhawks,
Yeah.
Kings. We'll do 5 teams. Then we'll display like wins. So we'll say win. So I'll call it wins equals, and then what we'll do is we'll associate the wins for each team. Let's see. I have to look at ESPN. So Penguins got 31 wins. Oops, not. Islanders has, geez. They're not doing so great this year. 17. Blackhawks is at. Okay, I'll throw on the West Conference. So they're at 18, and then Kings 24. These guys aren't that great. 18, 24. And lastly is the Sharks. Wow, I forgot Seattle has a team. Jeez, that's interesting. And they're not that good either. All right, so we got wins values. Cool, boom, good. Now we could create our pie chart with the values. So we could do the plot dot pie, and then we could say x equals, and we would put our, oops, I didn't put pie, x equals, and we put wins, which represents the wins, not y, and then labels. So we could have labels equals labels, and that's it. And then we could do display to do pie chart. So here we could just type in plot dot show, and we could run it, and it will not work. Why
P
do
is
that?
missing in pie plot.
What's missing?
the first line, it's dot pie plot. P is missing after pie.
Oh, nice pick. Nice catch. I mean, thank you. I love when people are paying attention and I'm not. So great job. So this one right here represents, the Penguins in a pie chart. It shows that they have more wins based off of the Islanders. It looks like the Sharks are, right behind them. But as you can see right off the bat, there's more. Now, obviously, if you did all the NHL teams, the pie chart would not be the right chart because it would be very difficult to, very difficult to identify who's who. But right off the bat, you could identify that, hey, you know what, Penguins have more wins than all these teams here. But if we would have put like, I'm trying to see here, Penguins are 31. If they're actually got a lot more wins. If I would have put like the Colorado Avalanche or even Tampa Bay Lightning, it had just been a little bit more, but not much. So it's good. It's a decent way. It shows you a pie chart. So it could be good for even going back to businesses based off of if you're doing comparison of Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, all these different businesses and maybe a revenue over year over year on revenue, then I think that could be probably a little bit more exciting than hockey. But to me, I thought it was cool to do hockey. Because I always talk about football. Cool. Any questions?
Yeah, I got a question. Where this might be done, but where are you pulling it from, right? Because in the previous class, it was you had like the location of the file.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good question. So if you remember in the previous class, before we did the file, we did a static one, and this is just using static data. We're not using a file. So as you see, like right here, I'm creating the labels, and it recognizes the labels as a value that could coexist with this one right here. So because I'm setting this up like in an array, they're both being set up as an array basically, even though it doesn't show that. And this is just the elements, and these are the values that are tied to it. But ultimately, what allows me to put it down here is running this using this plot pie, where it's expecting two arguments. One that is the labels that go around it, and the other one is the values, so they can separate that. So this is just a way to do it static data versus dynamic data, and dynamic data would be data that, like you mentioned, in a file that could probably change at any time.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. It's not a dumb question. All questions are good. Anyone else have any other questions? Okay. Let's see. I think I have a couple more. So that was the pie chart. So I wanted to show you an expansion of the pie chart that I don't know how it's going to show on here. It might look a little different. Whereas if we were like using Visual Studio Code, it would be a lot more clear because it pulls up in the window. But so I'm going to show you the expansion of that, and then we'll do a donut chart. And then that will be it on the presentation around the lab today. This is the last part of it, and then I'll take a 5-minute break real quick, and then we'll get into the you guys Zoom presentation. So this week won't be too long, but next 4 weeks will be a little bit more lengthier. And I had these saved. I could even send these to you as a reference that we went through in class, but you could also watch the video, whatever your call. So I'll do new notebook, and this one will be expansion off the pie chart. So I'll put pie chart expansion. So this one a little bit more lengthy. It's going to include a little bit more information. compared to the other one. So we will do import. We'll do matplot. Maybe I'll spell it right. Plot. And we'll do it as plot. And then I'll put it here. I don't want to do that. Okay, let's redo this, fine. So I'll put create labels. Like that. And we'll do labels equals, we'll do companies this time. I'll say Apple, Facebook, Amazon, Walmart. And one more. I'll do Target. So there's our companies that we're going to use for labels. Then we'll do I'll call it revenue equals, and we'll just give it random numbers. I don't know what the revenue is. I'll say 0.85. Facebook, they've fallen apart. At least last week they did. I'll put 80.95. Amazon, you know, they're up there. I'll just make it up. Consider it 300. I think we're 386. 34. Walmart, they're probably up there. We'll just say 382.98. And then Target, we'll say they're kind of in the middle. If they are, I don't know. We'll just make it up. Just to make up some values. So that's our revenue. And then we're going to have something called explode. And explode is a property within oh my God, I can't think. Within this library here, explode. So we'll put explode equals, and we want to, so what we're doing here is we're kind of separating the, so we're going to have a pie chart. And what we want to do is take this value here and expand it out where it looks like it's separated. So the plots that we use, the values have to be very minimal. And I'll show you how we can modify it to larger, you'll see what I mean. So we'll start off with, so this is called explode, and I'll put equals, and I'll put 0.1. Yeah. And then I'll make the rest. So we have 4, I'll make them zeros, and you'll see. So all we're doing is positioning how far the chart comes out. That's all. All right. So now we're going to do our plot style. Use, and we'll use something called a ggplot. We have to use it as a string. Next thing is we need to provide a title. We don't have to, but we will. And I'll say revenue by company. The next thing is I'll do the pie aspect of it. So I'll do plot.pie. And I'll say x equals, oops, x. And I'll do revenue. So x equals revenue. And then we'll do something called explode, which is this feature equals explode, which is up there. So explodes a property. And then we're using the same one here, which allows you to do it this way. And then we'll do labels equals labels. And then we'll do auto percentage, which is also a percentage of how much is taken out. So our auto percentage is equals. It uses a wildcard. So it does percentage dot 2f. And actually this right here, 2f is using color code coordinates as well. We'll then do enter because I'm running out of space. I'll do a shadow equals true. And I'll do a start angle equals 90 because we're doing this. Now there's other options that you could add in here as well, but this will get us started. We will also build the axis. So we can do the plot.axis. We'll call it equal. We can also pick where we want it to happen at. So as I mentioned before, we want this one to happen. So we're gonna say this is an upper left hand corner. So we'll do a plot dot legend. We'll call it location equals upper left. That. And I think we just have to show it. Let's see if it works. All right, so I messed up somewhere. That's fine. All right. Name. All right. I don't know how to spell. I really should spell right. All right. So I spell labels wrong again. Try it again. Oh, what the heck? All right. That's not exactly what I was looking for. All right, what did I do wrong?
I think in legend, there's an extra N there. Looks like you put
Which one? Which line?
legend, the second to last line.
Oh. Guys. We're getting there.
The revenue has 6 figures and labels has 5. So that's the error.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where'd you see? Oh,
Revenue has 6, so we need to remove one value.
we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, it's
Oh,
80,
the
comma.
80 and
Oh,
95.
80 and 95. Man, you guys are good. At least you guys are paying attention. Other class, I was messing up, not on purpose, but accident, and no one was saying anything. So this is good. Awesome, thank you guys. And when it works, you see what happens. So it has 9.42%. It does show up pretty decent. Now Facebook's kind of hidden, so it'd be nice if this is out further. But probably play around with this a little bit and see what happens. Yeah, so you see it starts moving out a little bit. You can probably do, but we might run off the screen here. Yeah, you see how it messes up there. It kind of makes it a little sloppy. So I'll make it. Yeah, I don't like that. It just looks difficult. So you could poke around with this and come up to some type of equation. It looks good. But in a nutshell, you can see that where your things at. We did upper left there. We could change it to upper right, maybe. So that it moves this over here. Probably, I don't know if we could put bottom, but you could poke around with that. So as you see here, oh, that was weird. You could poke around with this, but I mean, the pie chart looks a lot better than this chart here. It looks, this one's just a standard. This one provides a little snaz to it, I guess, something. Any questions on this?
Yeah,
Actually,
I got a question.
Go for it.
What's the best way to remember like all these commands, right? If you're new to this, it looks like you're just kind of, like what to put in. But what's the best way to like retain the commands that are needed for something like this? I know it's kind of general, but
No, it's a good question. I would say I always tell people create a cheat sheet. And then what happens over time is you just you just remember stuff based off, and this to me is all based off experience. And be honest with you, when I revisited this last week or week before, before I did this, I'd like to revisit and see if something's changed or whatever. So usually when the first time you're learning this is, I tell people to go out to learn the library and see what all the, because the thing is with these libraries, they could change. So, you could come out here and just learn, Google it and find out the documentation that represents that library and see all the different, as you see here, all the different features that are available here. So all these different functions. So if you wanted to do bar, you could come, I'll zoom in a little bit because it's probably really hard to see. You could come in here and see, okay, what are the parameters? What are we using? What are they looking for when returning? So you could, no one's ever going to know all of this, to be honest with you, unless you're super smart. So a lot of times it's what I did is things I remember, but if I'm trying to do something different, I poke around. I'll come out to the library and just look at, is there any new features? Is there something different I could do? And then I just added to it. It's like anything like in programming, like for example, I had built an app before. I built this game app. I did a what was it, a show and tell at my kid's school when he was little, and so I built this app for this game. It was a dumb game, but I knew that once I brought it in and showed the kids, they would be excited and they would play it. So the next year when I did it, the app didn't work, and it was because all these new features. But when I went in there and started poking around with the features, I was like, oh, I could do this now. I was able to do things that I wasn't able to do before. So it kind of goes with this as well. A funny thing is I was interviewing, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I was interviewing a candidate for a position at my day job, a developer, and they were looking for, my boss is looking for him to like remember all this stuff. And I told him, I says, listen, nobody's going to remember everything. I said, you can only store so much in your mind, and you have to, I mean, we have Google. I said, you go out and search stuff. I said, you don't know how many times, like in the past when I was doing software development, I'd run into a snag. I'd go out to one of those websites, Stack website or whatever, and I'd find a snippet, put it in my thing, work, boom, move on. I said, that's how you do it. Back in the day when I was like 19, 20, there was no internet. You just kind of you'd poke around all day long to try to figure out stuff out. So that was a long answer to your question, but hopefully
Yeah, I mean, I just see you going through this and it's like, well, how do I best retain this,
Exactly. You don't. I mean, you'll retain what you've learned.
Yeah.
But I, like me, I'll come out here, and I did before I did today's class. I was looking around to see if there was anything different that I could add to it, and that's kind of how you learn. And you only do what you're accustomed to, unless your manager or someone says, "Hey, we need you to do this," and you're like, "Oh, okay, shoot, I got to learn that now." So, good question, though. Very good question. Anyone else have any other questions? All right, so give me about 3 minutes. I just have to take a break for a second. I'll come back and then we'll finish up the donut. We'll do another chart, which will be the donut, which will be similar to that chart. We'll probably copy and paste some of the stuff and move some stuff around. So we have to write all the code again. So just give me a few minutes. I'll be right back. All right, I am back. Hopefully no one's left. All right, so the last one is going to be the donut chart. So I think I could use some of this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this. Oh geez, I don't know what happened there. Control C. Copy it. Create a new one. I'll call it donut chart. And today's homework assignment will be around this. I didn't publish it yet, but I'll publish it soon. And it's around donut charts, or not all these different charts, but doing a little research. All right, so let's paste this in here. It will still import this. So I'm actually gonna, this is a donut chart. Import library. All right, so we need labels. We can use same guys. We could do revenue like we have here. I should have commented this out last time. Revenue. That's good. We're going to get rid of this explode thing. We're not going to use that in this one. I'll delete it. Let's see, plot that we use stay the same. It's a good thing I'm not typing this again. This one will just be title information. And then how we have the pie, we could have X equals revenue, and that's fine, but we want to take the explode out because it won't. The reason I'm taking it out is because in this donut chart, we can't explode it. It won't work. It'll blow up and look funky. So we'll do labels equals labels. We could still do auto percentage. We could still do the shadow, and we could do the angle. So that's fine. I'll just put pie charting. Well, donut charting, but same thing. Let's see what else. Okay, so we're gonna change this stuff around here. We could leave this show there. This won't work. So now we're gonna do donut. So this will be donut specific. So actually we could have did that upper left. So we could have did that. Hit upper right there. So let's do this. I think we could leave that there. Yeah, we could leave that there. I'm pretty sure. Well, if it doesn't work, we'll change it. So now this part will be the donut specifics, or we'll say radius, whatever. So on this one here, I'll call it circle because it's basically a circle. We'll say equals to plot dot circle. And then we can put XY equals 0.0. And we'll do comma, and then we'll do radius equals 7.75. Now, these things are things I've used before that I know that works, but you might want to change them as well. And then we'll do the face color. Equals white. You can change it to whatever you want it to be. Just send it as a static text like that. Now we need to take the plot.gca, which is a function, and pass in add artist. Now add artist is a custom function that allows us to decide what type of shape that we're sending. And we're saying that we're just sending the variable name that we have here. So we could have called this Bob Smith, but basically it's a circle. And we're saying that we're using the plot.circle, and it's basically designing the circle, it's drawing it. Think of it that way. and think of this like the radius of things, and we could multiply it around. And then we're thinking about the center of it, which is white, and you could change that around as well. I think this is it, so we'll see if it works. All right. Always something. All right, let's see what I do wrong here. So we imported the matplot. Library.pilot plots. We have our labels. So we got 5. That looks good. Our revenue. I probably messed something up somewhere. Obviously, I messed up because it would be working. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that we got that right. We have the plot. Let's see what it's saying down here. Finally, look for special method names. Lambda expression. Wow. Huh, I really effed it up. All right, it's all good. We'll figure it out. All right, so revenue. Let's see. Explode. We took out plot.style.use ggplot. That's good. We have the title, which is plot title revenue by company. That looks good. Plot.py x equals revenue. Labels equals labels. Okay. And then auto percentage. Same thing as before. That's good. I don't think this is the problem, but I'll throw this on the same line. Shadow equals true. Start angle equals 90. Okay. Our axis is equal. That's good. Our plot legend location equals. I wonder if that plays a role, but I don't see that. It would be. Circle equals plot circle XY. XY equals 0.0. That looks good. Comma radius 7.5 or 0.75. I mean, comma face color equals white. That looks fine. GCA dot circle. Plot show. That all looks good. Let's copy this in case I want to do a change here. I'm just curious about something. I went to a new notebook. This looks really good. I'm gonna take this out. I don't see that being a problem, but still didn't like it. What did I do wrong? Most recent call last. I wonder if it's okay. That'll be right. So 95. I'm gonna play around with this. You see this being a problem, but sometimes you have to troubleshoot it with something else. Yeah, that's all right. Import right one, matplot library, py plot. Yep, SPLT. That's good. Labels equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how it's teaching plot. That put something wrong. I know I put something wrong. I'm just not seeing it yet. Plot title. Okay. Plot pi. X equals share. No, that's right. X equals revenue. X equals revenue. Can't see it being spacing. Labels equals labels. Percentage equals 2f, right? Start angle equals 90. Exit axis. And so where everything looks good. Donut circle, plot circle. Oh. There's some weird stuff there. All right, let's see. Oh, you know what? Can't be that. Plot style used. Cheat plot. Enter something wrong. Oh, you know what? Every time I think I found it, but I didn't. Equals revenue. Oh, what am I missing? I'm not seeing it. I thought, oh, you know what? I think it's this. I have X, Y, and I have X 0.0. I think it's 0,0. There you go. I spent all day thinking that. All right, so I have an X and Y radius completely off, obviously. It says 0.0 and says 0,0, and that's what fixed it. So as you can see here, after spending some time, we had the different companies, the percentages. It's not as fancy as expansion off the pie chart, but this is a donut chart here. Any questions? I know that was a lot. So we went through, just as a summary here, we went through the donut chart, we went through the pie chart expansion. We talked about the normal pie chart, and then we talked about the graphs of Python, and we also talked about the bar chart as well. Nobody has any questions? I'll stop the recording. I'll make it available after it's done doing what it has to do to produce it. And we can move on to the next thing. And so your assignment this week will be around this aspect of it. It'll be around going to get data from certain areas and applying it to a chart. Let's see here. I'll stop the recording.